got completely forgot the history. And I want to start by telling you how we got there. See, a lot of people don't know that Venezuela was a constitutional republic. We had three branches of government. At one point, we also have two major political parties that represent the Venezuelan political landscape. One was called COPEI. That one represented all the conservative Christians in Venezuela. And another one that was called Acción Democrática. That one represented all the socialist democrats in Venezuela. Very similar to the United States. What happened to us is we in Venezuela declared independent 35 years after the United States. Our founding fathers used to come here to this great nation. They were good pals, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, and they brought all these ideas to Venezuela. But what happened? After 35 years that we declared independent, also a day after Independence Day in Venezuela is the day after the United States independence, July 5th. A lot of people don't know this. See, what happened to us, we in this country have George Washington as to be the king. He refused that idea. He became our president for 2 terms. We in Venezuela allowed the generals to become the leader to the early 1960s. So they became dictators. To finally, we got rid of our last dictator in the early 1960s. We Venezuelans did something that I see happening in the United States with conservatives. What do the conservatives do all the time? They take care of their families, they open business, they worship God, but they stay away from politics. That's exactly what we did in Venezuela. Yeah. And when that happened, the left took over our education system. Something that I see very similar happening for so long in this country. My friends, I started talking like this 12 years ago, and nobody will listen to me. I have a lot of people who told me, you don't know anything. We're the United States of America. We're the superpower. We have the biggest army in the world. And I believe it. I did believe it at one point. I was like, you know what did I know about anything? I'm just an immigrant. Came here to improve their life, and I did. I became very successful in business. I opened many businesses in the United States. But after that happened to us in Venezuela, that we allowed the left to take over our education system, what do you think happened there? See, those professors started indoctrinating your teachers, our teachers in Venezuela. Those lawyers, those kids that went to school to become lawyers, became your attorney, became our attorney generals, our district attorney, our judges, and politicians at all levels of government. The same thing that I see happening here. See, when you go to college, especially back in the days in Venezuela, the moment you walk into the university, the Communist Party is very strong in Venezuela. You guys call it here progressive. You guys call it here liberals. But make no mistake with the socialists. They're really good at linguistics. They know how to manipulate names so you be disarmed, so you're not afraid, so you're not worried about these things. These so-called progressives, we used to call them communists. Now they call progressives. They call socialists. They call liberals. Nobody will get afraid in a second when you hear this guy is a very progressive person. You will not be afraid. You will not take that person serious. That's what these labels came. We tend to repeat here in our side. Conservatives tend to repeat these talking points because the left have programmed the right to repeat anything. Since we don't know about these things because you didn't grow up in a Marxist country, you don't understand this. But growing up in a Marxist country, it taught me so much to understand, to be able to see through all these labels. So anytime you hear progressive, wokeness, that's all the same Marxist, socialist, communists that I knew growing up. They haven't changed a bit. They just got better not to disguise their intention. As soon as they left, took over our education system, and started producing these professors, these lawyers, these doctors, these engineers, these architects, the environmental people that work in your county, in your cities, in your state, in your federal government, what do you think they went to do? They went right away to start pushing agendas. I see it happen right now, even in our armed forces. Our own armed forces are going to be compromised if we don't do something about it. You guys call it here wokeness. It's not, it's Marxism. Make no mistake. This is Marxist ideologies that are going to destroy this country from the inside out. Just like it happened to us. The same people in Venezuela that did this to us are the same ones are doing it here. The very wealthy, the professional, you call them here elite. They are the ones that took our country down. They're the ones that put Hugo Chavez into power. It's not the people. It was the very wealthy that wanted socialism in Venezuela. Who do you think is pushing socialism right now in the United States? The very wealthy, the so educated, these professors. Our media got compromised. Our politicians got compromised. Everything, our education system. But they understand by taking the education system, everything else will fall apart. They understand that very well. The moment Hugo Chavez comes to power, the very first thing he does is to take down our Constitution. What was his excuse? He said the Constitution was too old and it was racist. Something that I hear always from the other side. See, we have to also see that our politics is beyond compromise. We used to have two major political parties in Venezuela. And if you heard what I said earlier, one represents the conservative Christian and the other one represents the liberal socialist. Nothing is different than what I saw growing up. I watched this movie before in Spanish. And I'm watching it in English right now. And I know exactly how that movie's going to end. See, I didn't want to get involved into this. Because I was an immigrant, a foreigner. Then I knew about politics. What did I know about anything? But when you leave a country like Venezuela was so rich, and you know this is the last stand of freedom in the world, the last dominant freedom. If that dominant fall, where do you think we're all going to go? But then I asked that question. Canada? You guys want to go to Canada?
No. You
Or Mexico?
You don't want to do it.
No.
See, as soon as Hugo Chavez got rid of the Constitution, because he said the Constitution was old and racist, he didn't stop there. He went to nationalize our police. Something that I see here, you guys have it, it's called defund the police. Let me explain to you what defund the police is all about. Because I'm pretty sure that a lot of people in here probably don't understand what it's all about. Defund the police have one purpose only. They want to make sure that crime rise up in your communities. Your local police are not going to be able to handle the situation. And then you will see compromised politicians from our side and the ones that pushing this idea saying in order to end systemic racism, police brutality, in my favor, gun violence, we have to nationalize the police. The federal government right now, you should look into your areas, is pumping a lot of money to your local police. Because the police is being defunded in a lot of places. You're not going to see it, but I know here in Wilmington, at one point we were short 80 police officers. Short 80 police officers. A lot of people don't understand a lot of things about politics, and we need to start getting more educated about politics, and especially in the local level. When your police is not well funded, crime is going to rise up. This federal government pumping money there, they're going to have to say what to say in your police force. They're going to have alternative what to say. And then you will see those politicians, just like we did in Venezuela, nationalizing the police. And I pray that it will never happen here. Because if that happened, they tell me that we're one step close to become a communist country. It will happen. As soon as Hugo Chavez not only got rid of the Constitution, nationalized the police, he gave us gun control. Does it sound familiar to you? He said that gun control was needed because there was too much gun violence on the streets. This is something that I see all the time on TV. It's a shooting and in high school or in school, and they want to take your guns away. I'm here to tell you the only reason this country hasn't fallen to communism is because of the Second Amendment. Make no mistake. The moment we lose the Second Amendment, you can kiss this country goodbye. And nobody can argue with me about that. So everything that I'm seeing that happened to us over there is already happening here. Step by step. There's something that is called the red flag law. And if you're not familiar with that, that's gun confiscation 101. It's already been passed in 19 states in the United States. 19. Right now it's in the national level. If the state wants to take the federal government, the money from the federal government, they can become in a state that support the red flag law. Think about if we have compromised governor, lieutenant governor. They can bring that here to North Carolina. And the red flag law is pretty much gun confiscation. You will not be able to get your guns back. The moment they take it away from you, that's it. You're not going to get them back. But Chavez didn't stop there. After that, it became something that I see happening here in a lot of cities. Gun buyback programs. It just happened not too long here in Wilmington. We had a gun buyback program. Durham had it not too long ago. The churches doing gun buyback program. They're pilot programs. They just put it in practice to see exactly when they come with the final assault. When the federal government, through the nationalization of the police, will be able to do this. There's nothing you guys can do about this. Nothing. We tried. But at that point, it was too late. Chavez had too much power because he reformed the Constitution. He made our 3 branches of government, but the 2 branches of government. The legislature and the judiciary, it became symbolic than anything else. See, Chavez didn't stop with this by taking our guns away from us. He went further. See, not too long ago, I saw something here. When the IRS got pretty much more than 80,000 new agents, that the federal government is going to be hiring. You don't think that's going to go after the big guys, the major corporations. This is to go after the small business in this country.
Right.
Well, let me tell you what Chavez did. Chavez weaponized our IRS, the city. He weaponized our IRS to go after the small business in Venezuela, to squeeze money and close their business to support Chavez revolution. What do you think is happening here? I saw this. Can't make these things up. Look them up. How we did it. We're doing the same exact thing. Nothing is different. Now it's in English. Back then it was in Spanish. One of the things that Chavez also did that I see now happening here, how he didn't close our churches. He modified our religion. You guys have it here. It's called progressive Christians. See, when you have these churches, they're bringing the transgenderism movement inside the church. They already started the changes. See, I don't have a problem with homosexuals. I got homosexual friends. I have no problem with nobody. But when you're trying to push ideas to my throat, then we're having a situation. See, Chavez brought to us a religion that's called Santeria. Santeria is, in the name of God, I can worship the devil. It's like voodoo. Same thing is out here. You have these so-called progressive pastors. Therefore, you guys call it here pro-choice. Listen to the word, pro-choice. It doesn't scare anybody here. Pro-choice. It's pro-murder. It's pro-murder. It's nothing pro-choice about these things. But because we've been repeating these talking points, we never really understand what's happening to us right in front of our eyes. My friends, let me tell you, if we lose the Second Amendment in this country, it will be done. See, I always see it. I'm a person that I support veterans, and I'm glad to be part of this great organization. But I honestly believe that veterans are being lied by your government. Telling you that you have to go and fight these wars all over the world, so you don't have to fight it here. The enemy is here now. And it's called communism. Be no mistake. During the pandemic, they got rid of a lot of good soldiers. And they didn't want to get the vaccination. And some stayed because they love their career, and I respect that. But a lot of soldiers left. Our police is the same way. The veterans are leaving the police force. They want to bring the new crowd. The new crowd is the one that support whatever the heck the government wants them. They don't believe in the Constitution. They're not going to believe in the Constitution. They're going to believe in a paycheck. And whatever the government tells them, they will obey. Chavez, armed forces, do that. In Maduro, now. That's what they do. We at one point had a Constitution. Now they walk all over that Constitution. It's all about a paycheck. Police officers during the day patrol the streets of Venezuela. And do you want to know what they're doing now? They're kidnapping people. You want to talk about some police brutality? That's some police brutality. Anytime I hear people saying this country is a racist country, I completely feel sad. Anytime I see people saying this country is the worst country, misogynist, racist, I feel like, man, you just don't know what you're talking about.
Amen.
We have millions of immigrants that risk their life to come here.
Yeah.
Do you think that we're stupid to come here because this is a racist country? No, we know. In our countries, we know this is the last domino of freedom. This is the land of the opportunity.
Yes.
But it's not going to be for too long the land of the opportunity if we keep going the way we're going. That's the reason why I got involved in politics, because I am afraid. See, right now, these people don't have the numbers, but they will have the numbers. They will have the numbers. See, the first time I heard something that's called diversity, equity, and inclusion was in Venezuela. So if you have it right now where you work, the armed forces, that's Marxist 101. Make no mistake. If that's right now in your armed forces, in your place of work, they're teaching you how to be a Marxist. See, in the name of diversity, they're going to try to destroy and dismantle the system. Like, oh, this country's too racist, so we're going to use the diversity to take it down. The equity is going to be through the redistribution of the wealth. But the biggest weapon the left have right now is called inclusion. Inclusion, it is the one they're using to completely brainwash your children right now in school. See, I pulled my children out of school 6 years ago. I tried to warn a lot of parents, and nobody will listen to me. During the pandemic, now parents are starting to notice because that came to their homes, and they started to realize. But I saw it 6 years. And I tried to warn a lot of people, and nobody will listen to me. Nah, that's not going to happen here, Jonathan. You're making this up. It doesn't look like I'm making anything up right now. I hope and I pray every day that we take our country back.
Amen.
I do hope. See, I took the same oath that all you veterans took. The same exact oath. And I was to protect this country from foreign and domestic threat. There's a domestic threat right now, my friends. It's called communism. It is right here. Make no mistake. It is right here. Your politicians, some of the officers in the armed forces, they're pushing these ideas. Don't be silent. Stand up. Be brave. Because you do not want to grow up in Venezuela. You don't want your children to grow up in Venezuela. I don't want to be in Venezuela. And I was from Venezuela. I was born and raised in Venezuela. So if I tell you that I don't want to be there, you don't want to be there. And I'm going to end with this. Freedoms are not free. Understand that for freedom is something that we always have to fight for. Because in order for us to remain living in the land of the free, we have to start becoming once again the home of the brave. Thank you so much.
Speech, but every word that John said is factual, it's true. And I'll attest to this. John has been talking about this for a very long time, longer than your typical conservative influencers, longer than legacy mainstream media. So I'll leave you guys with this. Keep note, Jonathan Uzcategui is going to be doing big things in the state. Thank you, John. Thank you, John. All right, so We have about an hour left before they kick us out, so we got plenty of food.
Oh, I have it boxed up. You guys are more than welcome to grab it.
Yes, please. Help us out with the boxes. And let's have a good time before we get. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Sure. I don't know.
Very good press.
Oh, was it?
Very good.